Welcome to the CastOFF. I am your host, Craig Price. This is the show where two contestants compete by recasting your favorite actors in movie you love. Tonight, we start round 2 of the CastOFF with some Big D energy as we recast Boogie Nights. As you can see from our bracket from last round, these are the people who have advanced. We have Randy Redacted versus Tracy Mangum. We've got Jake Dietz versus Alex Barnhill, and we got Richard Jensen versus Chaz Evans. And of course, tonight's Patrick Beatty versus Rob Irvin. We've got a solid, very solid second round, so I hope you tune in for all of those. But now we have to get on to tonight. And we've got some really great guys for you. Waiting for my music to come up as always. Paid good money for it. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Game 9, which is a rematch from last season, as Patrick Beatty from Patrick Beatty Reviews and Rob Irvin from the Clubhouse Podcast battle it out again. So let's head to our two guys and see how they're doing. Looking good, gentlemen. As I push it forward.
Hey, good evening.
What I need to warn everybody about is
Let's go!
Yeah, we're done. What I got to tell you is that we have got a new comment thing we're going to try to do tonight. And it is slowing my computer down just a tad. So if we're a little hitchy, it's because I want to see how your comments go. So last time the three of us met, Patrick, you eked out a overtime victory of Jurassic Park. Do you remember what your movie was?
I think Lakeith Stanfield was the thing that got me over the top with this one.
No, Lakeith Stanfield is what got you into the playoffs.
Shoot.
I remember your double feature.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yours was Godzilla.
Yeah, that's right.
Mine was Jason and the Argonauts.
See?
Interesting. See, I'm never good with the double feature.
Well, Rob lost and he's bitter about it, so he remembered it's burned into his brain.
That's right. Memory of an elephant, baby.
It's more of a vindictive memory. He can remember all the slights, but when it's something good, he doesn't remember anything. Let's talk to Patrick. Patrick, since we last spoke to you, it was the holiday season. Anything exciting?
Oh, no, just celebrating New Year's COVID style, which means where you stay home and you make whatever food gives you comfort. For us, it was our yearly beef Wellington, and it was really good. Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year's as well, and to you, Rob.
Well, what has been going on at the review site with you and Chaz?
So we're starting to roll out the first reviews of 2021, and just with Gaggly Geeks, same thing. We've got Button Mashing now, our new gaming show that's every Wednesday. But other than that, just keep it on going. There may be a new show coming out later that I need to talk to both of you about, so we'll see.
Ooh, I feel special now. Because usually the show comes out and several months later I get asked on it when they run out of people. So this is exciting to be on the pregame list. Rob, how are things going down there in Texas?
Weather is unpredictable as always. Patrick, that beef Wellington did look amazing. I saw it on social media when you posted that over the holidays. It was great. Clubhouse Podcast and the Cheap Podcast are both doing really well. We've been getting a lot for deconstructions of pay-per-views for WWE, where we were doing watch-alongs on vocalnow.com, VOKALnow.com, and just having a good time, trying to keep it all moving.
Well, it's good to hear it. I'm glad you guys are doing well. You're both in, between Texas and Utah, and me here in Southern California. We're surrounded by COVID, so hopefully you and your family are being safe and well. But let's move on to the show, and before we start, our quick reminder that every show here at CastOFF is sponsored by the main podcast, Matinee Heroes. And this week, Zaki Hassan joins me for A Beautiful Mind as we continue Biopic Month and we delve into the beautiful mind of John Nash. So please, if you'd like, you can head over to matineeheroes.com/subscribe to the podcast, or you can head over to matineeheroes.com/castoff and you can subscribe to the video feed. But tonight we've got the big deal. We are heading into the movies. Let's review the rules real quick. You're going to name an actor. I'm going to give a point to the best choice. Actually, me and several judges will do that. If you get my secret selection, you get an additional point. Just know that sometimes the best choice and my secret selection are not the same, but it is a good way to get 2 points pretty quickly if you start falling behind. Person with the most points wins. If there's a tie, double feature to win. And I would like to thank additional judges Brendan Agnew and Carrie Gordon for helping me out. So if you don't like what the picks are, there's 2 other people you can blame. Let's get on to Boogie Nights. Now, Patrick, this is the first time you've ever seen Boogie Nights, right?
That's correct.
How did you like it?
Oh, well, hey, that's a lot to watch, not knowing what you're going into. You know what I mean?
Sort of.
You know what I mean. I thought it was fun. It was fun to see Marky Mark when he was Marky Mark. It's I don't know, a cool throwback film. I liked everything about it.
It is a cool throwback film.
The recast was surprisingly not as difficult as I thought it would be.
And Rob, have you seen this movie? Of course.
I saw it theatrically. Revisiting it, remembering that the pacing is a turtle on an oil slick, but
Alfred Molina. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you think about, Marky Mark singing "You've Got the Touch," which was in Transformers the movie, which then he would later he'd be from Paris, Texas. He's got a transformer in a barn, but that's a whole different issue for a whole other time.
He's from East Texas, so he's got that Eastern accent, right? Well, let's get on to our recast, and we're going to start off with the big man himself, both figuratively and literally. We've got we have the great Marky Mark Wahlberg as Eddie Adams, Dirk Diggler.
What a photo!
Yeah, you know how hard it is to find photos.
Choose the best still.
You know how hard it is to find photos for this. It's over 25 years old. I can't find good photos. They're all little tiny ones from back on the internet. Was a baby. So Patrick, who do you have replacing Marky Mark as Dirk Diggler?
Yes. So my pick stems from a couple reasons. First is because they both are musicians. Marky Mark did his Marky Mark-ish stuff. This one might be a little bit more famous, though. He was in One Direction. I'm going with Harry Styles as Dirk Diggler.
Nice.
Very apropos, especially with the latest news.
Mm-hmm. So and I think he would just fit really well within that genre. He proved his acting chops in Dunkirk. I do think that going forward, I believe he's doing something, and I don't mean it in the sense of they're dating. I think he's doing a project with Olivia Wilde, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if it's with Olivia Wilde. He is got a film in production, but since it's not out, I didn't put it on his list, and he hasn't acted very much. I mean, Dunkirk's pretty much it, unless you want to call One Direction his thing. But he was very good. But
he is an icon. He is an icon, which could work really well for this. He could tap into that, just like Lady Gaga did with The Star Is Born.
He also did a great job on SNL when he hosted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't try to help me, Rob, with your mind games.
Stop being so supportive.
How dare you at this point?
How dare you
be helpful? So, Rob, you're such a nice guy. Who do you have that can beat Harry Styles?
Well, I'm hoping. The thing about Harry Styles is he could definitely get the darker 2/3 of this movie, but I had to go with somebody that could pull off the innocent baby face of the first third of the movie, and I went with Zac Efron. Well, I think he could pull off the entire script of this really well, and just the boyish looks that Mark Wahlberg had on this. I just thought it matched up really well. And I'm trying to avoid the CW so I don't upset Craig.
It's not upsetting. I just don't know anybody unless they're on the Arrow or something. So is this the Zac Efron that you're looking at?
I'll take that one, yes, sir.
Yeah, because he's getting older now, and The Greatest Showman, where he's really good in that. It was hard to find those pictures of him looking so young, but he was in Baywatch. He can sing, Hairspray and things. I say he's a living Ken doll, not because he has the lack of equipment, which is the exact opposite of this movie, but he just feels like a generic, good-looking guy. So I think he'd be perfect for this, especially with the long hair. So we've got Eddie Adams, Dirk Diggler, with Patrick going with Harry Styles, Rob going with Zac Efron. I thought a young Patrick Swayze would be perfect because he likes to sing, or at least he was a singer. He had an album that came out, or maybe even a couple albums come out. I think he would have been perfect for that. Our judges conferred, and we went with Zac Efron. So Rob gets the first point.
That was a close one.
That was a close one.
This is a great pick, Patrick.
Yeah.
Now we get to the effervescent, the lovely, the beautiful, the super talented Julianne Moore as Maggie, or Amber Waves. So we'll start with you, Rob.
First of all, how do you recast Julianne Moore in general? Because, like you said, she's incredible. But when you're having to go with that, for lack of a better term, hooker with a heart of gold role, you got to go with somebody who was nominated for an Oscar doing it. And I went with Elizabeth Shue.
Well, that's fantastic, because she is right, especially right now. She is someone like I could see her character from The Boys doing this, except in The Boys it's super creepy. So, all right, Patrick, who do you got?
For this, I went with somebody that could have kind of a motherly instinct to them, but also has the sex appeal that Julianne Moore was able to do so well in this. So for that, I went with Marina Baccarin for Amber Waves.
Nicely done, sir.
Yes, I'm not going to lie. She is one of my favorites. She's absolutely stunning, and always has been, even when she had the super short hair in that V remake. And then, of course, we had the lovely, I don't know, what was she called? It was like a concubine or some kind of thing in Serenity.
She was a companion, I believe is what she was called on Firefly.
Okay. It was like Doctor Who thing. So she is fantastic, and I could see why Deadpool did everything he could to get back to her, because she's gorgeous and wonderful. So, and she's been recently in Greenland, which is the most recent movie she was in with Gerard, what's his name?
Butler.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was going to
say actually
Depardieu.
A pretty good movie.
Oh, okay.
I had a good time with it.
See, I don't get to see the news movies. I only see old movies. So we got Elizabeth Shue, Marina Baccarin. I was thinking of a young Angelina Jolie, but maybe not. Maybe even a little older Angelina Jolie. She's definitely motherly. She's got 9 kids. And Marina Baccarin brought it to tie. So Patrick,
well played,
brought
sir.
it to equal.
Thank you.
Very good choice. Now we get to the real star of this movie. Now, you can say that Mark Wahlberg's the star of this movie, but nobody's bigger and badder than Burt Reynolds. So we're going to start off with Patrick. Who do you have replacing someone who actually hated this movie, hated this role, and was embarrassed by it, which is crazy since he was nominated. Was he nominated for an Oscar?
He won the Golden Globe, and then he
wow.
auctioned his Golden Globe off on eBay.
Well, that's later when he didn't win the Oscar.
Yeah.
But
But he did get nominated for the Oscar.
I thought so. He was very disappointed he didn't win. The Golden Globes is just who do you schmooze better.
Mm-hmm.
It's really it's crazy. But so who do you have playing the Bandit, or in this case, Jack Horner?
For the Bandit, and I don't think this actor is going to hate this at all. In fact, he's done a similar role, in my opinion. You need to have somebody that can fit being kind of a scumbag, because at the end of the day, he is a scumbag. Like, you know what they're doing, and he's still likable. Like, everybody can still enjoy him and all that. So I went with Oscar Isaac as Jack Horner.
Now, this was an interesting choice because he is a fabulous actor. Kind of young for the role, but he was your first pick. He was your pick in the first match, so you really like him. This is the second time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he can pretty much do anything, and he's a good, handsome guy. You'd have to age him up a little bit, but I could see it. So let's go with Rob.
When in doubt, use Oscar Isaac.
Yeah,
that's definitely your pattern.
The logic is sound. For my pick, I wanted to go with somebody who, before 2 weeks ago, would not have been on my radar in this role. 2 weeks ago, a movie hit the world, and seeing him in it, I said, slap a beard on him, make him gray-haired, and he nails it, in my opinion, and that is one Pedro Pascal.
Ooh, that'd be good.
2 guys that absolutely love each other, and I think they spent New Year's together. There's some pictures of them drinking on Instagram. These guys came up in the same system, like, if you want to call it. They did all the plays together. So Oscar Isaac and Pedro Pascal, good choices. So you got, of course, he's Grogu. He's Grogu's daddy now. I liked him in Wonder Woman 1984. I thought he was a little bit over the top, but I guess for that movie it's okay. And of course, his Oscar-worthy role in Blood-Sucking Bastards. So we've got Oscar Isaac versus Pedro Pascal. I went with an older Jack Nicholson because he's got that. I love Jack, but he's kind of got that sleazeball porn director feel to him sometimes. And we went with porn stash Pedro Pascal.
He's so hot right now. How could you not?
But he also looks more scummy than Oscar Isaac. We saw the pictures. They're both good-looking guys, but one is, I'm going to be a model, and the other one is, I'm going to get every woman in every bar in Texarkana to love me. So now we move on to Buck Swope, played by Don Cheadle. I love Buck. He is so sweet and wonderful in this movie. Don Cheadle's great. So we will go with Rob. Rob, who do you have playing Buck Swope?
The thing about trying to recast anything Don Cheadle has done is you have to be able to find that balance of innocence and a little bit hard-edged at the same time, as it happens to him later in the film. This one I went back and forth on a lot, but where I landed was on John David Washington. I think that he could really get that, especially that opening scene in not the opening scene, but his first real big scene in the stereo shop as he's trying to sell the guy the TK421, which I love that he used that combination of numbers and letters. And then as the character developed, I thought that's where I landed. Well,
he is definitely Denzel's son, because Denzel's amazing and he's amazing. The only problem I found is that I couldn't find any pictures where he was sweet. He always got that mean look, so this is the sweetest picture I could find of him, and I think it works.
It does.
Yeah, but he was fantastic in BlacKkKlansman. I have not seen Tenet yet because I haven't cleaned out my ears well enough to be able to listen to the dialogue. But also
subtitles.
Subtitles. He did sneak in Malcolm X and Devil in a Blue Dress just because of nepotism, but not undeserving, as we find out. Patrick, who do you have playing Buck?
I went with Shameik Moore for Buck. You might know him from Dope. He voices Miles Morales in the Into the Spider-Verse animated series. He's a really well-rounded actor. He definitely could play this character particularly. I think it's a good role for him, and that's my pick.
Well, you can tell that I cut and paste this slide and didn't do a good job of proofreading it, because he is not the 80s it girl. But he definitely is in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. He's a fantastic as Miles. After that, I haven't seen him in anything. But if he's as good as an actor...
Dope is so good.
Dope is dope?
Excellent in Dope.
Is that the review title for everybody? Dope is dope?
You know, it's good enough, because that movie is really well done. Very underrated, in my opinion. Nice job, sir.
Well, we've got John David Washington, Shameik Moore. Oh, I don't even have my PowerPoints going. Everybody's confused. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when I look the wrong direction. And I went with Donald Glover because I think Donald is a sweet, naive kind of guy like Buck is. And after dealing with our judges, Rob, you go up 2 points as John David Washington was our decision. And it might be that our judges may not be familiar with Shameik Moore, because he's... Again, it was hard to find his... I like the fact that you're trying to get new people involved. That's really good. You're expanding my knowledge of casting, but Shameik Moore was not on my radar, and when I looked him up, I couldn't find him in very much.
Yeah, definitely put Dope on your list, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's so good.
I will
Into the Spider-Verse, man.
Yeah,
I know that, but I don't remember the voice.
So you wouldn't have recognized him as much, I think. But yeah, Spider-Verse is in a category by itself for me, too.
Right. I don't really know voice actors very well unless they are from the Animaniacs. Now we get to someone. My wife and I went out of our way, and because Walk the Line is going to be our Patreon. While we were recording that episode with Alan, we talked about Walk Hard, and so my wife and I had to watch Walk Hard because of John C. Reilly, who's phenomenal in that movie. He sings, he plays the guitar, he's talented. In this movie, he is dumb as rocks, but he's so good. So let's start off with Patrick. Patrick, who do you have playing Reed Rothschild?
Well, we're going with... I'm sticking to the theme of having kind of more, I guess, unknown in the acting sphere, but known in the comedic realm. I went with Pete Davidson for Reed Rothschild.
He's a lot more known than... I don't know why. He's somehow funny to people. People seem to like him. He really does well with the young ladies. I don't know. I guess it's Bad Boy. But he was in The King of Staten Island and The Big Time Adolescence that came out this year.
Soon to be James Gunn Suicide Squad too.
Right. And he was in What Men Want and Trainwreck. But yeah, he's definitely on Saturday Night Live for most of us. So who do you have up against Pete Davidson?
This was the second hardest casting for me on this list, just because of who John C. Reilly is. I'm glad you picked the picture that you did, because as soon as I saw it, it really locked it in for me. And I went with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Well, sure.
I thought he could pull off the goofiness of it. And he's always kind of played those roles where he's kind of that second banana that wants to break through. But I think he would be able to pull off the awkwardness of it really well, too.
Young, handsome second guy. Yeah, absolutely. He's made his bread and butter being that guy. And he is really talented. He can, and I think in Don Juan, he played a dummy in that, didn't he?
I have to go back and see that one, but yeah, I believe
think he played like a guy that was just he had a lot of sex, and he wasn't the brightest bulb in the sky, so he can play dumb. I mean, hell, he had to play Bruce Willis for a movie, so I'm sure he can play dumb. We've got Pete Davidson, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I went with a young Ryan Reynolds. I thought he'd be stupid and goofy. And the judges decided on Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So, Rob, you have a commanding lead with 4-1, but there is still...
I'm not hanging the banner yet, sir.
There's still potentially 4 points on the board, so this is not over.
Indeed.
Now we get to Little Bill Thompson, played by William H. Macy. Can anybody else play such a lovable loser that you feel for than William H. Macy? He was amazing in The Cooler, and then you see him in Boogie Nights. He just plays this guy. And then, of course, in Fargo, he's amazing. So, Rob, who do you have playing the shocker? I guess he's the twist. I would say when the event that happens to him happens, the movie takes a hard turn. So
and there's a lot of movie left at that point, too.
Yeah.
Which is even crazier. I'm glad you picked that image because it just locked it in for me again. I went with Topher Grace. If you put a mustache on him, I think he could follow in those footsteps really well.
Yeah, he's that 90s 2000s show actor. And he was also in Black Klansman. He played David Duke. I thought he did a really good job
Yes, he did.
Opposite of John David Washington. And of course, he played himself in Oceans 11 and 12. So, I mean, if you can't play yourself, you should get out of acting.
You put Spider-Man 3 on there.
No, thank you. So, Patrick, who do you have going up against Topher?
I went with Ken Jeong.
This is a bold strategy.
Well played, sir.
My movie is weird, and I am here for it. My cast is weird, and I am here for it. And look, maybe the votes aren't in for me for my weirdness, but I'm sticking to it because I think Ken Jeong could play a seriously depressed dude that is on a set and having to deal with his wife cheating on him left and right at every party and just go along with it. Like, he definitely has that capability as far as his acting goes.
The story of Ken Jeong is amazing.
Indeed.
I think he's still certified, but he was a doctor, a legitimate doctor who turned actor, and just, he would take vacations to film Knocked Up, The Hangover. And when he popped out of that car in the trunk in The Hangover, he sealed the deal as one of the bravest actors out there. He's just crazy.
That was his idea.
Yeah.
They didn't tell anybody but the director. When it happened, they ran up to him with all the forms because apparently there's a bunch of forms you got to sign when you do nudity.
Yep.
And when he was doing stand-up, all the guys knew he was a doctor, so since none of them would have medical insurance, as Craig, you've dealt with the stand-up industry, they would just go to him for medical advice.
Right. Also, he had someone have a heart attack in one of his sets and jumped off stage and saved the gentleman. So he is a very worthy actor for this. And I do like this. This is a left field pick that I think would work very well. So we've got Topher Grace. We got Ken Jeong. I was thinking of Joshua Molina, not Joshua from The West Wing. Now, here's the situation. Patrick, you've got two things you have to accomplish right now. you have to win this, and then you have to win and get my thing next.
I hate your build-up, man. I hate your build-ups.
Well, then screw it. We'll just go with it. We want Topher Grace. I'm sorry. No
Awesome.
build-up at all. I'm trying to pull it out a little bit. I'm trying to keep it interesting.
It's
now,
just like a knife pull.
Niche groove that really hit with the judges, and so you're today's winner. Very well done. You've redeemed yourself from last time. So,
Daddy
what is your
spanked
final
me
thought?
today.
You know what? Always, Patrick is a great competitor, and he and I have become friends over the last few months. So I'm thankful for being a part of that, and got to do his podcast last month. And I just want everybody to stay safe out there. You know, it's a new year, so let's get our heads right, make good decisions, so we can start to make things look a little bit back to abnormal, so we can at least go to movie theaters again. Again, Patrick, great game. Always enjoy competing against you. And I'm now 2-1 against the state of Utah, so I feel good about that.
Well, half the contestants are from Utah, so the other half are from Texas. So, but let's move on to next week's. Next, we have to announce next week's guests, which this is going to be a good one because, Patrick, you know one of these guys, I don't want to say intimately, but quite well. For Game 10, we've got Richard Jensen versus Chaz Evans, and the movie that they have to recast, because Richard was worried that this particular movie, Boogie Nights, was going to be an awful hard one to do. Next week's going to be tough, and that's because we're going to recast Heat. Oh, this is a good movie.
Nice.
I love this movie.
Another movie where you think it's over and there's still another 45 minutes to go.
But it's not slow. It
Right.
cooks.
No, I agree.
I just want to make that. So we've got Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in their first time together. It's not the only time, but it's their first time. And we've got a very useful Val Kilmer. I think this is the last time Val Kilmer was any really good until he got into old man Brando mode. So this will be a great one. If you haven't seen Heat, go see it right now. It is fantastic. But if you've liked the show, follow us on Twitter at Matinee Heroes. You can go to twitch.tv/Matinee Heroes, or you can go to facebook.com to the groups, and of course matineeheroes.com/CastOFF to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Twitch channel, all the good stuff. So on behalf of Rob, on behalf of Patrick, I do want to also say, please, folks, be safe out there. Texas is a hotbed. Utah is a hotbed. I'm here in Southern California. It's the hotbed. Wear your masks and be safe. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next week.